Hi everybody, it's Courtney and welcome to day 2 of my Mother's Day card series. Today I'll be using all W+9 stamps. I'm using Pretty Poinsettias, which I know is a Christmas set, but we'll be using the solid images and coloring them to make it look not so much like a poinsettia. I'm also going to be using the Wishing You Sentiment stamp set as well as the Embroidered Bouquet Edition and the leaves from the Rose Builder stamp set. I started by using Soft Blossom ink by Hero Arts and stamped my large solid image on that scrap piece of paper. And then I have a panel cut down to 5.5 by 4.25 of Neenah Solar White cardstock. And I will be stamping my smaller flowers on there. And I'm positioning them on the top and bottom. My plan was to die cut that larger flower and place that in the center. I took some full stick Post-it notes to create masks for my smaller flowers. I cut 2 at the same time because I know these are solid images, and sometimes when you add too much ink to the Post-it notes, it bleeds through. So I'm cutting 2 at the same time. Once I had my masks in place, I'll be using soft olive ink, also by Hero Arts, to stamp my solid leaves from the Rose Builder stamp set. I placed 2 of the leaves where that larger flower will be, and the single leaf behind the smaller flowers. That second one I didn't get a great impression, but I'll be using some Copic markers over it, so hopefully that will kind of blend that out a bit. I'll show you the coloring of the larger flower and one of the leaves, and then I'll skip through the rest of it so you don't have to watch me color the same flower 3 times. I start by laying down my lightest color where my darkest color will end up being. And there's no lines in this stamp. It is a solid image. So I did color 1 petal at a time just so I didn't lose track of where my highlights and my shadows will be. I'm using 3 colors here to blend, and I'm actually using the ink color as my highlight. So when I take my lightest Copic color, I don't take it all the way out to the end. I noticed I must have had some inky fingers at some point and I smudged a little there, so I'm just using a sand eraser to buff that out. For the leaves, I'm only using two of the Copic colors. I'm using a G82 and a G28. Basically, I'm doing the same thing as I did with the flowers, starting off with my lightest color to map out my darkest areas, then going in with my G28 to go over those same areas, then going back to my G82 to blend those out a bit. Once all my coloring was done, I went ahead and die cut that larger flower, and I'll be using the mother from the embroidered add-on set and one of the sentiments from the Wishing You sentiment stamp set. I'm using Raspberry Jam ink by Hero Arts to stamp my sentiments in the top right corner. There is a smaller mother stamp in the Wishing You sentiment stamp set, but I wanted the mother to be a little bit bolder, so I just used the embroidered stamp for that. Once my sentiment was on there, I used some Scotch foam tape to go ahead and pop up that larger flower in the center of the other two flowers. I took some clear Nuvo drops just to add a few drops on the bottom as well as the top of that little bouquet. And that is it for today. Thank you for stopping by, and come back tomorrow for day 3.